Sometimes in the charitable, nonprofit, change space world, we operate out of a place of scarcity, not of abundance. And so one of the things that I absolutely love about Enviro Stewards, Bruce and his team, and how they're dreaming about Safe Water Social Ventures is this idea of how can we invite others into the journey. And so I think that's what's really special about the event tonight. You're gonna hear and see a whole bunch of different movies from different change agents, and that's something to really celebrate. So just maybe a show of hands. How many people, this is their first Impact Film Festival? Show of hands, and you can whoop it up if you like. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of people online. Okay, so that's pretty decent. How many people are here because you just love everything social impact, social change? You love all of that kind of what's going on in the world of social purpose and social change. Show of hands. Okay. Little quiet. You can be passionate. It's okay. You're allowed to be passionate. Okay, and one last time. How many people are here just because you love Bruce Taylor? Now, we've got a meter. If we've got a meter, I think that's got the loudest cheer so far. How many people are here because they love short films? You geek out on making movies, watching movies. You love popcorn. How many people are here for the movies? Okay. All right. Well, we are pretty excited about the lineup for tonight. I'm excited as well too because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Wes is here. He's the man of the night and his support team. I think we had a record number of tickets sold for the event. Wes, is that correct?
Oh yeah.
There you go. So give yourselves a big round of applause. So a record number of attendance for in-person and online. So thank you very much for continuing to support the third annual, and it is the 20th anniversary of Safe Water Social Ventures as well, and that's a part of why we're here as well, is the fundraiser for Safe Water Social Ventures. You're going to hear more about that, and hopefully you've had a chance to hit some of the stations outside before you came in. We will have about 30 minutes after, so please talk to the filmmakers. Some of them are here tonight. Talk to the organizations that are represented. Some of them are here tonight, and talk to any of the blue shirts. There's lots of blue shirt people here tonight. And they are very passionate to talk to you about Safe Water Social Ventures. So please be sure to do that as well. Okay. We're also going to have a little bit of fun tonight. So you can cry, you can laugh, you can dance, you can do all kinds of things. But one of the other things we're also going to do is we're going to vote. We're going to have some fun and vote on what you thought were maybe your top 3 short films tonight. We're going to do that towards the end. So just be thinking about that too. Did something tweak you, move you? Did it make you cry? Did it make you want to run out and join that organization? So just be thinking about that. We would love to get that, even just that feedback. What moved you? What spoke to you? So again, you'll have a chance to vote on that towards the end. But we'd love to hear from you as well too. So go at the end, walk up to some of the blue shirts and say, hey, I really love that ABC film. Okay. I love what they're doing. We'd love some of that feedback as well too. All right, without further ado, have I missed anything? Toilets are to the back and to the left. The Honda's double parked. Was there anything else?
No.
Okay, so I think we're good. Without further ado then, I'm gonna invite up, I think we got Mike Mauricio. He's all the way from Italiano. No, it's Mike Morrice. And so you're the Chief Executive Officer of? And you're up here to do our land acknowledgement. So thank you very much, Mike, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kevin. For those I've not met before, my name is Mike Morrice. I'm the Member of Parliament for Kitchener Centre. But more important than that, I'm a friend of Bruce's and a fan of the work that Enviro Stewards does, and just really glad to be back at the Impact Film Festival again this year. Bruce and Lloyd and Matt and the team have asked for me to share a little bit about the land. I'm sure for many of you, by show of hands, how many of folks in this room live in Waterloo region with a show of hands? Wonderful. So if most folks are from here, you probably already know a lot about the land that we're on. It's the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and Neutral peoples. And in 1784, this land was gifted to 6 nations. This land specifically being the Haldimand Tract, which is behind me here. The Haldimand Tract is 10 kilometers on each side of the Grand River. And as likely many of you know, today of that entire parcel of land, only 5% is occupied as the reserve for 6 nations. Now, a lot of the talk tonight is going to be about water, and so I think it's relevant to also talk about how the folks who live on reserve at 6 nations, 70% of them do not have access to clean water from the tap. And this is, an hour's drive away. They're not under a boil water advisory, so a lot of the time you only think about communities that might be under a boil water advisory, but there are many who are not under those advisories, and yet still the majority of folks in those nations don't have access to clean drinking water. Now, part of, I think, why it's important for someone like myself as an MP to be talking about this is that 6 Nations actually has a court case that has been underway since 1995 with respect to the Halton Tract. And some folks think this court case might be around land back, but it's actually a fiduciary case. It's about the financial implications of, back in 1784, this land never being paid for or paid to 6 nations, and instead was leased to settlers inappropriately by the Government of Canada. And so that court case, in fact, still continues. You can learn about it if you go to SNGR, the 6 Nations of the Grand River. The litigation is all listed there if you're curious to learn more. What I think is kind of special about what Enviro Stewards is doing is they're not waiting for the Government of Canada to finally act on this. It's been some 30-odd years that we're continuing to push for that case to be heard. In the meantime, though, what Enviro Stewards has done is they've stood up and said, well, we actually think it's appropriate for us to pay rent, to lease the land that we are on. They're on what's known as Block 3, their offices of the Haldeman Tract. These are the different parcels that were then sold. We're right now, Kitchener's on Block 2. But their office is on the Haldeman Tract, and so they are making a $1,000 donation every year, annually, to Healing of the 7 Generations as part of their commitment to reconciliation, which is worth a round of applause, I think, for sure. Bruce and me, I really appreciate what you and your team is. Unlike a lot of political folks, you don't just talk. You actually do the work. And I think this is a really important symbolic gesture that you're making through Enviro Stewards to continue living out your values. And it's a way to inspire others to think about how, if we had some Indigenous leaders in this room, what they would probably say to us is they don't want us just talking about acknowledging the land, but talking also the implications and acting on those implications. And so folks in this room, you can reach out to your MP. You can ask them about what they're doing to make sure we address the water quality at 6 nations and making sure the investment is made to make sure every person there has access to clean drinking water and that court case is heard. In the meantime, we can give it up for groups like Enviro Stewards. For my part, enjoy the movies tonight. I enjoy Impact Film Festival. So glad you all made time to be a part of this. It's through movies like this I think we can really get inspired to take action on some of the things we learn about and get engaged in it. So thanks, Wes, to you and everyone else for making this happen. Kevin, back over to you. Thank you.
Wow, so well spoken. I think we got our MC for next year, Bruce. He looks good. He's Italian. So good. All right, without further ado, we've got a really special treat. This is, as we know, we're here. Part of what we're here for is to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Safe Water Social Ventures. Some of you, maybe even most of you, know what Safe Water is all about. But this really is an organization that empowers families. Some organizations talk about that. I think this is one particular organization that, with the way that they think about the world, the way they think about people and transformation, really make it happen, even in their charitable business model, you might say. And so this is about empowering families and communities in East Africa through providing safe and clean water with the biosand filters. That's part of their secret sauce. But also the training of local implementation partners. You're going to hear more about that as the night goes on. And I actually think that this is one of those really powerful ways that we can train and equip and empower and give away to locals. So I love that Enviro Stewards is not just thinking about addressing the issue, but also about training locals. So here's a short little intro video to kick the night off, hopefully to get us thinking about what's to come from the project manager of Safe Water Social Ventures on the ground. Loguya Matthew, a beautiful person, couldn't be here tonight. Mike's office wasn't able to get us the visa. Sorry, Mike, I threw you under the bus. But next year, he's promised he's going to get us the visa to get him here. So we're going to watch a great little film here from Matthew.
Hello and welcome everyone. Greetings from East Africa. We are so excited to have you join us today. Whether you're in here in person or tuning in virtually, we are thrilled to share this event with you. For those who supported us in this work, we say thank you for your partnership. And for everyone, we hope that our work will encourage and inspire you. I was not able to come, but I hope I will have the opportunity to come next year. Thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. And we hope he can be here again, or this year coming up as well too. So he is a key staff person for Safe Water Social Ventures on the ground and does a lot of the training and the implementation. So to have him here next year would be just super special. So let's pray that can happen. I'm really excited about the next two films. This one's called, the first one we're going to watch is from an organization called Step Up Construction, and they're doing some really cool things. The program itself, the company itself, is actually operated by an organization called Inner City Youth Alive out of Winnipeg. And, the Impact Film Festival is drawing from all over the world, but also all over Canada. And there's some incredibly talented, creative, and innovative organizations. So I really hope you enjoy this. This particular social enterprise is not only providing valuable employment and vocational training skills, and they're including sort of the employee base is mostly First Nations, Indigenous peoples. Some that are at risk. But the other thing that I love about what Step Up is doing is that it also has a caring strategy. And sometimes when you're talking with social change or social purpose organizations, they'll talk about that being a wrapping strategy. So this is one of the things I think is so beautiful. When we walk with people that maybe are marginalized, it's not just about the practical, that's super important, but how do we care and come into a relationship. So I hope you catch that in this particular film from Step Up. And then right after that, we're going to have a film from, it's called Water Law Explainer. And this is from the Ashnola Indigenous area. And the film subtitle is Why Water is Priceless. And we got to watch some of these in advance, and this is a pretty neat one from me. Here's a direct quote that came out of it that jumped out at us. We can only act differently when we believe differently. And that's kind of powerful. So hopefully you'll catch that in this particular film as well too. This particular Indian band is sharing their heart for water and how it's changed them and how it changes the way they interact with it. And this is produced by our friends at Wakefield Agency, I believe, out in BC. So I hope you enjoy these two short films.
The highest form of charity you can offer is to offer someone a job. Because what you do then is you set things in motion for the rest of that individual's life, and you create this cascading effect so that they can be a positive impact in the life of their family and their community.
Step Up Construction is a social enterprise in the north end of Winnipeg that puts job-ready skills into the hands of youth within this relative neighborhood. Since then, it has evolved to meet more of the need that's there. These young guys need somebody to be walking alongside with them, whether it's faith or it's their personal relationships at home, and the work is a perfect avenue to be able to connect with these guys.
I love the work environment that we work in. Like, I work in close vicinity with some of the guys and can become real pals, and it's just a blessing to not have toxic guys that you're working with. And, you know, they're grumpy, they bring the mood down. It's really fun to work with the guys that I work with, and it's not like you have to act a certain way. Like, you have to act hard or tough. You don't have to act that way. You can be yourself.
It's very wholesome. It's like family. Everybody's patient with each other most of the time, but that's just how it is. It's great. I make mistakes, but that's what being in renovations, construction is, just problem solving. This is the best thing, in my opinion, that's happened in the North End, because it's like growth, like character, skills, building relationship, and like being disciplined to be here every day.
You can't really grow if you don't know that you've been afforded to have grace and allowed to make mistakes. That's the key thing. The other part is you can never get fired from Step Up. You can lose your spot in the lineup to have a position to work, but we would never fire you. You can always come back. You can always be part of the team. And I like to look at it, you're always part of the Step Up family. So they know that they're loved and accepted, and you can come back at any time. We're going to show up, do the best we can each day. We know we're going to make mistakes and we're going to move forward.
Well, it's not just about the work, right? It's building character. It's getting them up to see what life is actually going to be like after they move off from here, right? We're giving them chances here where they can build up their self-esteem, build their confidence, and then get them ready for a real world where they might have some of those conflicts in there, and then it won't bother them as much, and they won't give up as easy or right away. They'll know how to push forward and keep going.
The perseverance that I've had to gain during work, like in the bridge job, and like it's pretty tough because we have to jackhammer non-stop all day, and then when we're done, and we feel sore, but persevering through that day, persevering through the jackhammering really translate into our everyday life. And when some struggles come up and some tough decisions have to be made, it's easier to make them.
Over the last few years, most impactful would be watching families get back together. Watching young men decide to try to take leadership and to try to build their home. That's the most impactful thing, because it impacts them, it impacts their children, it impacts their families, it impacts everybody around them.
I have a daughter. She's a year and a half. When she gets a little older, she's going to grow up and see that her dad works hard, and like he's not sitting around all day, and you know, she can have some pride in her father.
I learned a lot just being here past couple months, and then being able to work at like family or friend's house, and then they're like really happy with the quality, and I'm proud of that.
We wanted to kind of create an environment where kids could see another path and another possibility. You know, they're donning those high-vis vests and their work boots, and it speaks. And so other youth can see what's happening over there, and they can start to develop a vision for what's possible for them.
Water, it's always at our fingertips.
Water, it's always at our fingertips. It just arrives on demand when we need it. But it doesn't just magically appear. It has its source, here in the Smilkameen Valley. The Ashnola provides water, the lifeblood of the earth that we all need. For water to sustain or provide life, it must be pure, but water purity is under threat.
Here in the Smilkameen, our river is one of the biggest tributaries to the Columbia system of fresh, clean water. It's been tough, you know, seeing a lot of the threats to our river and to our environment, to forestry practices that are outdated.
There's 140 years of mining activity in the Smilkameen River. Placer mining, gold mining, all kinds of mercury, heavy metals that are extracting from the gold and silver. So what are we doing to ensure that this young fella's kids are going to have something to drink?
The mines take water to get what they want from the ground, all the chemicals, all the minerals. They destroyed a lot. They destroyed the fish. Now the water is so shallow, the salmon can't go upstream because the water's too warm. That's the importance of water. This water's clean. And that's the way it should be.
Most people just take water for granted. You know, that's the real sad thing, right? That old guy's talking about, I'm going to have to buy water. Well, right behind you there's a case of water. We're all buying water right now.
You know, we see the water degrading, or we see the water quality going down, and more developments, more activities. out in areas that there really shouldn't be activities.
On the 28th of April 2022, after much consultation and planning on behalf of the Smilkmeek people, the Lower Smilkmeek Indian Band declared the Ashnola watershed to be an Indigenous protected area. This is intergenerational work that has taken generations to get here. The Nashnulauch Ashnola River sustains life and lies wholly within the Smilkmeek Inquelhueltantet territory. This sacred place provides the Sutuchunchut, those who make the living from their land, in every season. The Nashnulauch is foundational to seasonal practices and is a place of safety and sustenance for Smilkmeek and guests on the land. This means Syilx laws, including Syilx water law, must be followed by all parties within Smilkmeek territory. But what is Syilx water law? Simply put, Smilkmeek laws are about relationship. In Syilx worldview, water is a living being, and it has a spirit.
Everything has a spirit, everything has heart. Water is life for us. Water is life for the land.
Syilx, or water, is not merely a resource for consumption or commodification. Each of us has a relationship with water. This means understanding how we interact with it, which is ultimately the way Syilx water law is lived out. There are 5 major facets of Syilx perspective on relationships: respect, humility, interconnection, relationality, and reciprocity. Water, as it flows everywhere, demonstrates how everything is connected. All living beings are dependent on water, from plants to animals to humans, which means no impact is isolated. The Ashnola is connected to the Smilkmeek River, which is connected to the Columbia River. Any impact to the Ashnola will impact the Columbia. The Syilx don't see in terms of watersheds or borders. They see entire rivers and those ecosystems, and all people being supported by those river systems. This type of understanding leads to a simple way of living with water and caring for it. Only take what you need, always use what you take, and you share what you have. The Syilx are always thinking of ensuring water can be used over and over again. That way, it always stays clean and healthy. So how can things change? The way we interact with water needs to change. We need to change the way we see the water, leading to how we protect the water.
So I think we need to stand together and to advocate for the water better.
The Syilx connection to water is deep, as is the heart to protect it for current and future generations, ensuring that water is still healthy for providing life and ensuring that there is enough of it. For water to follow its natural pathways means interacting with it, not just with extraction in mind, but impact in mind, and not just impact for humans, but all living things. The Syilx water law aids not just the Smilkmeek, but all people, and ensures everyone to be in good, respectful, and sustainable relation with water, and this law needs to be known and followed. The water needs all of our voices to speak as one on its behalf, so that it can continue to provide life for future generations to come.
Yeah, I feel like I could go home already. It was just like 2 really inspiring movies and stories. So thanks very much to the filmmakers and the organizations that brought those. Okay, I'm going to introduce the next 2. And while I'm doing that, Nicholas Paddison, if you can come on up. I know you're here with your wife and you said it was date night and everything, but just give her 5 minutes, okay? Come on up. Nicholas is the filmmaker for the second film. He's going to introduce the second film. And he's often been referred to as the next Steven Spielberg. That's what we've heard. So come on up here. I'm going to introduce the first one, and then Nicholas is going to come on up. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. And I'm not as attractive as your beautiful wife. I get it. Okay, so the first one is from News Story. And the movie is titled Land is the Gateway to Opportunity. What I love about News Story is I truly believe that they're challenging the traditional charitable model, and they're doing it with such innovation. And there really are pioneering solutions to end global housing crisis by empowering families to become landowners. I think they're based out of Mexico, is where they're doing most of their work, and they want these. They want the folks to basically come into the to home ownership, and not just own the homes, but the land as well. So this is about not just changing people's lives, but even just the trajectory of whole communities. So that's News Story. Land is the Gateway to Opportunity. And I'm going to turn it over to Nicholas here to introduce his film.
Thank you. My name's Nicholas Paddison. Let's all start off clapping, right? Get the energy up for me. Look, it's me. Here we go. Really happy to introduce this film here today. You know, I will say I had originally, you know, written down a couple of notes I wanted to go over, but, you know, hearing everyone else's, you know, beautiful films and stuff, I thought, you know, we'd rip it up and let's just speak from the heart, right? Sorry, it's a terrible joke, but I love it. As I said, I'm thrilled to be here tonight sharing with you my mini doc, Cup for a Cup. For those who don't know me, which I'm assuming is the majority of people here, I'm a videographer and content marketing strategist. But before this was my career, I worked at a restaurant for a number of years in Toronto called the Old Spaghetti Factory, which is the subject of this film. In 2022, yeah, look, we're a partner. Here we go. In 2022, Graham Nachu, the CEO, who cannot be here today, internally announced his goal to offset the company's carbon footprint by the date of 2025. About 6 months ago, Graham called me to share that ahead of schedule, they met that goal, which I think is a huge achievement for you know, an independent restaurant to make. Yeah, oh, when he watches the live stream, he's going to love the applause for that. One key initiative that they undertook is what we call the Cup for a Cup program, a partnership with Safe Water Social Ventures to offset their water usage by helping subsidize clean water to communities in East Africa. You know, as a marketer, you quickly learn there are countless ways to tell a story, but figuring out the root of the story is just as important as, you know, how to tell it. For Old Spaghetti Factory, their marketing's always been centered on grassroots efforts, you know, word of mouth. Hire incredible staff as company ambassadors, and in turn let the company, or the customers, or guests as we refer to them in the restaurant world, become the company's cheerleaders in celebrating and sharing your product. And trust me, I'm not here to share financial analytics, but it's been working pretty well for them for over a decade. When Graham asked me to, you know, help create some buzz, this film for the initiative, I knew I wanted to borrow from his marketing philosophy and tell the story from the perspective of staff at the restaurant. You know, not just Graham, the CEO, but the line cooks, the servers, the maintenance workers, you know, the people that are truly the heart and soul of the Old Spaghetti Factory. I want to thank the entire Old Spaghetti Factory team, you know, especially Graham for allowing me to help tell this story. My amazing crew on this film that you'll see, Anna Maria Lee and Andre Santos, and the whole Safe Water Social Ventures team for being incredibly collaborative. Lastly, you mentioned it, but my wife Chantel, who's here tonight, for begrudgingly allowing me to feature her in the video, which you'll see, but you're going to figure this out shortly. What are the chances that your wife also works at a restaurant that you're highlighting, but also in water utilities about a film about water? So, like, I had to jump on it, right? Worked out well. So I'm proud to share the film with you tonight, and you know, our goal is we hope it inspires other restaurants to, you know, also join the Cup for a Cup initiative and try and make a difference. So thank you. Excited to share it.
Thanks, Nicholas. So, Hanger, if you're someone that's thinking about filmmaking or you're dreaming about it, make sure you get together with Nicholas afterwards. He's obviously very passionate, and you see he's super skilled at his craft and his art. Enjoy these two films.
At New Story, we empower vulnerable families to secure the housing they need. A key that unlocks affordable housing is land. Right now in Mexico, there is no supply of affordable land for low-income families. Without options, families build their homes on land they don't own and have limited to no access to basic services like running water and electricity. The process can take up to decades of their time, and it leaves them vulnerable to eviction. Generations of families find themselves stuck in a cycle of poverty, without a clear path to quality housing. But when families can own land, everything changes. Land ownership gives families long-term security from eviction, an increase in net worth, and a generational asset that can be passed down forever. Land is the gateway to opportunity. That's why with investments and partnerships, we buy and develop land to make it affordable for vulnerable families. Here's how we do it. First, we qualify families who have been left out of the traditional market. These families lack adequate housing, have no relationship with a formal bank, and don't own land. Next, we put families on a savings plan that works for their income. They make small monthly payments towards a land lot. The land also comes with full municipal utilities, water, sewage, and electricity. We use these payments to build a family's credit profile for the first time in their lives. When families complete their payments, they receive a property title in their name. They legally own the land. Our sustainable model makes it possible for low-income families to secure land in just 2 years, which is the fastest option across all of Mexico. And here's the best part. Once families become landowners, they can then use their land as collateral to access their very first housing loan. Families can secure a loan and build a home on their land, a home that has the potential to grow their family, a home that improves families' health, a home that builds generational wealth, and a home that empowers people to reach their full potential. Families are gaining the resources they need to secure housing and break out of poverty because they're taking ownership of their lives from the ground up.
Graham, thanks for being here. We're going to do a little audio check to start off, so just count backwards from 5 for me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. You excited?
I'm excited. Thanks, Shanti. People take water for granted. You sit down at a restaurant, it's available for you, you don't give much thought to it. Very few people realize how fortunate they are in a global context. My name is Graham Nachu, and I am one of the owners of the Old Spaghetti Factory in Toronto. Setting the goal to make our restaurant carbon neutral just seemed like the right thing to do. How we got there was many options: being more energy efficient, using less water, sourcing from better local suppliers. But there's a big chunk based just on our geography that we couldn't do ourselves. We couldn't put solar panels on the roof or other things, so there was always going to be this excess carbon that we couldn't achieve. So we had to go to what would be the carbon market. Eventually we landed on the Safe Water Ventures. The thing that was so attractive to us about it was that there is absolutely a carbon sequestration and remediation portion of this, where we know that communities who are using the biofilters are no longer burning as much forest woods to sanitize their water. So there was going to be a gain in that respect.
Something that could completely change a lot of people's lives.
Sets a precedent that other companies should follow.
I'm so glad that they're helping a lot of people. I'm so proud to be a part of Old Spaghetti Factory.
It's about creating the world as a sustainable place, and this is one way that you could really do that and make a positive impact.
I actually have no idea. Is that okay? That I'm not sure.
My name is Chantel Miller, and I work as a GIS analyst for local government and water utilities, and I work as a server at the Old Spaghetti Factory. Why is it so hard to say my job? A Cup for a Cup initiative is essentially when a guest comes in and orders water, the cost of that glass of water is then donated to help build biosand filters in East Africa.
We did the calculation of what we believed was going to be the cup for the water and how many biosand filters we'd have to sponsor, and worked with the Safe Water Ventures to that calculation. They were able to deploy that money quickly and show us where the money was being used.
So the program then provides multiple filtration systems and teaches the community how to use and maintain them throughout the years.
I also contribute to
healthy status improvement of the society where we live. And I feel touched that, wow, this need for me to do a lot of the community, transforming my life from small to big.
Anda demi yiri ke jizo korea ojata zeke mamanda ke kugada dri somvo ga ne butisi majofu onvo je mosula uboziki yide gadati aya sa simini donda yide jiga didi subuti se korigara ka somvo kendo musula
buda tikina ngaji kilo sa yote na ikilo inga malaria sana monye lo mimie ona jojonga do daktari lakini ani rumbida kala size la makaranga.
My name is Mengistu Legese. I work Old Spaghetti Factory as a maintenance worker. I'm from Ethiopia. I came to Canada June 27, 2023. When I see people are drinking from tap water, I surprise. Then I just keep drinking also.
It is refreshing, I will say, to see a business look beyond themselves and look beyond even just like spaghetti.
How I think water treatment works, for me, it extends as far as the Brita filter.
It would be fairly difficult to replicate Toronto's water infrastructure system in East Africa. We are situated on a large body of fresh water, and the water life cycle in East Africa is greatly impacted by climate change.
I think a lot of other countries do not have the privilege of having clean water.
The water problem is a big issue in Africa, especially drinking water. Sometimes, I travel out of the city. The people are drinking, from the river. So because of that, I was sick for a long time.
The Old Spaghetti Factory has currently helped produce 50 filters, providing over 300 people with safe drinking water.
And the great thing about them is that they're not disposable. It's not like you do this once and they disappear after a year. They compound. You could do 50 more every year. So within a decade, you could have hundreds.
A cup for a cup, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you stack that up over time and it's huge.
I'm so proud that they're helping a lot of people.
Being a participant in there and helping out, it feels great. And that was the attraction, that we knew we wanted to feel connected to a person, see that story, that family. I do hope that other restaurants specifically will take inspiration from this initiative and also commit to go cup for cup. Even if I'm wrong, even if I'm the most naive person and this isn't actually doing any carbon sequestration, what's the worst case scenario? I'm helping provide clean water for a number of different people. It just seemed like we think we're doing the right thing, is to the best of our information. We believe in the project, and even if we're wrong, we still feel like we're right.
Fantastic. And Nicholas, great job. You got humor in there, catchy tune. I'm like toe tapping the entire time. So round of applause for Nicholas. The filmmaker's actually in the building. So that's fantastic. We're going to invite Bruce Taylor, President, CEO, Grand Poobah of All Things Good at EnviroStourist to come on up, and he's going to make some special acknowledgements here, just sort of a little intermission. So as he's making his way up, I'm going to give him the mic. There are so many people behind the scenes that have made tonight just already a wonderful night. A lot of them are wearing blue shirts. We've got Wes, we've got Christy, we've got David, we've got Julia, who you're going to meet. She's got a real big show coming up for us during one of the intermissions. We've got Bike Mats over here. We got Lloyd, and we got all kinds of people. Can we have a big round of applause? I know I've missed a ton of people. This is a lot of work to put on, and their hearts really coming out tonight. So thank you for that round of applause. Bruce, over to you.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for coming out. Chantal, are you here? You saw the Cup for a Cup initiative. When you leave today, there's a calendar for everybody on safe water. And one of the final weeks you'll see is on the Cup for a Cup initiative that's featured here. And I want to send these back to the Spaghetti Factory. And just a promotional, this is a water filter indicating the 50 families. This is for you. Take these with you, and it's a good reminder. And it's already growing. So the Old Spaghetti Factory, Matt's had actually done water and energy conservation there, right? And then through the relationship, started the Cup for a Cup there. And the Cowbell Brewery has now said they're going to do it in their restaurant in Blythe. Woo! And Southbrook Winery is going to do it in Niagara-on-the-Lake, right? And so if we can grow this, it's very strategic because a one-time donation is great, but if you can get somebody to tie it to what they're doing so that you've got an ongoing stream, you'll see later on how important that is. It's easy to start a project. It's harder to keep it going. And so you need these ongoing things. And so we really appreciate what a wonderful film and initiative. Thank you so much. Thank you. Additional gold sponsors are Concord Premium Meats. They make Marc Angelo products you might have seen in the restaurants. They've sponsored 50 filters twice in a row now. Woo! So that's 100 families now have safe water there. Leader lighting. So we do a lot of energy conservation work. One of the easier things is actually changing lighting to LED from us. Then we have to dig harder to find the other stuff. But when we find the lighting stuff, leader lighting, very often we'll bring them in and they'll actually change it out. And we know next time we hear from them, it's done, it's working. And we'll do the business case for the customer. This is how much you'll save on energy, refrigeration, everything else. But now it's done and it's actually implemented. And so they've come on board. They've helped 50 families this year. So thank you very much to Leader Lighting. We also have the silver sponsors. So Cowbell Brewery, they've sponsored 10 filters. The Rotary Club in London, Hyde Park, has sponsored 10 filters, which is strategic because they're now lobbying to do a global one. So we visited the Rotary Club in Arua, Uganda. So with that partnership, we want to make a bigger project to again sponsor more. Conestoga Meats is another Sustainable Waterloo Region member. They've sponsored 10. We're doing some water and energy with them. Kindred is our bank, and they reinvest in this community and other communities, and they're also a fellow B Corporation. So we're really thankful for these corporate sponsors who've really helped out these families.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Another big round of applause for Bruce and his team at Vital Stewards. And maybe some of your business owners out there and you're wondering how you can get involved, and hopefully with CAWST Vision maybe fired your imagination tonight. So make sure you talk to Bruce and the team. They would love to figure out how they can do a cup for a cup or something maybe customized for you in your business location as well too. Let's keep all the good work of bringing safe drinking water to East Africa. Okay, let's keep that moving. So thanks again, Bruce, and thanks for all the sponsors. It's sometimes the sponsorship and the sponsors that we have just make these things just go, and you can see that the impact that they're having, not just for like us here tonight to make this thing a reality tonight, but the families obviously in East Africa as well, and their staff. Some great comments coming from Nicholas's video in particular with the old spaghetti factory. So you can see that ripple effect that that kind of social change and intentionality can have. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the next two films. Actually, I'm going to ask two people to come up and introduce the next two films. So Ravi Chandran from Global Aid Network, if you can make your way up, that would be wonderful. And Sophia from Kurumbuka Leadership Solutions. I didn't actually see that she was here. Is she here? She's here. There she is. Okay, come on up on stage. And we'll start with Ravi. And Ravi's with Global Aid Network. But the video that he's going to introduce is through a partner of theirs in Paraguay, somebody that we know really, really well, called Diaconia. So we'll ask Ravi to introduce that. And come on up, Sophia. And then you can introduce your film for Kurumbuka Leadership Solutions. So thanks so much to both.
Thank you, Kevin. Like Nicholas, I'm going to drop the notes. But I'm going to read it because my wife told me, don't do extempo, otherwise you will preach for 30 minutes. So I'm going to make a quick read. And thank you, Kevin. You made my wife's day because when you saw me, you said, "Oh, so nice to meet your daughter." And she was so happy. Thank you very much. I represent a ministry called Global Aid Network, which is more commonly known as GAIN. GAIN Canada. We have about 9 GAINs all over the world. GAIN is a Ministry of Power to Change, which is formerly Campus Crusade for Christ International. So Global Aid Network exists to reveal hope and restore life to those who are living in poverty, injustice, and crisis around the world. We dream of a world with flourishing communities where people are thriving in all aspects of their life, both physical and spiritual. We are a registered non-profit based in Abbotsford, BC, and I work in Toronto. And we have grown to become a part of a diverse global network with offices in 46 countries. We began in 1998, and we have mobilized resources to help people in several countries around the world. We provide access to clean water and also the living water. We provide relief and aid to those experiencing crisis and natural disasters. And lastly, we empower women to overcome generational poverty and embrace dignified and flourishing lives. So this short film that you're going to watch tonight is from Diaconia, which is our partner in Paraguay, and it highlights the story of a woman called Sonia, and she's a person whose life was marked with poverty, hopelessness, but she found hope, security, and freedom through our financial loans and savings bank. Please enjoy the movie.
Awesome, thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Sophia. I don't have a funny bit to do with my notes, I'm just going to use them. I hope that's okay with everybody, but I'm so honored to be here among so many great organizations that are doing really sustainable work, and I've already learned so much this evening, so thank you so much for having me. I have the privilege of being here to represent the team at Kurumbuka Leadership Solutions. I've been involved with that organization for about 5 years and can confidently say that they are making a significant impact in transforming African communities by developing and empowering local leaders. And I know the word Kurumbuka can be a little bit tricky. I think some people even call us kombucha by accident or Kurumbuka, whatever. But this word is actually really significant. When translated from Kinyarwanda, it means multiplication. And this word is really central to our mission at Kurumbuka. They aim to ensure that every community has a servant-hearted leader who's driving lasting change and transformation across the continent through that leadership development and multiplication effect. Since members from their team couldn't be here tonight, I'd love to share a few words from their co-founder, Focus Ndayo. He says, growing up as a refugee and losing family members in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, I witnessed the devastation toxic leaders can cause: violence, corruption, and exploitation. But I also saw the power of Christ-centered leaders to bring reconciliation, create opportunities, and serve the marginalized. I deeply believe that local Christian leaders with an abundant mindset can prevent future tragedies and unlock the potential of our continent. As Focus emphasizes, a core belief of this organization is that real change in Africa comes from within, led by local leaders who know their communities best. Through their contextually rooted training programs, Kurumbuka equips leaders with the skills needed to drive reconciliation, economic development, and community support. So in the short film that you're about to watch, What It Takes to Transform a Nation, you'll hear stories from a Rwandan teacher, entrepreneur, and pastor who are using their training to spark healing, education, and economic growth in their communities. Alain, Alpha, and Annette are powerful examples of the impact of abundant leadership. I hope you're inspired by their stories. Thank you.
Me llamo Sonia Raquel Solís, tengo 37 años y soy de la zona de Ipani. Estoy en Diaconia, ya va a ser casi 9 años. Tengo 4 hijos. Cuando entré en el grupo de Diaconía, empecé a tener mi propio capital y en vez de ir a pelar el choclo, yo traía las bolsas de choclo ya en casa. Pelaba, desgranaba, vendía y empecé a ver mi ganancia. Hoy en día, todo lo que tengo es gracias a los préstamos que he tenido con Diaconía. Después ya empecé a invertir en calzado, perfumes, traigo por pedido. Con esto yo empecé a ser independiente. Yo trabajaba en una oficina y no me alcanzaba el sueldo mínimo porque tenía que pagar niñera. Con Diaconía, al emprender, me dio la oportunidad de poder quedarme a cuidarle a mis hijos. Y también mejoré en mi parte económica, en mi casa. Antes teníamos una casa de madera y con los préstamos pude comprar tanto mercadería como ir comprando de a poco así ladrillos. Hoy en día ya tengo una casa de material. Yo, por ejemplo, mi trabajo es así. De lunes a miércoles estoy con el tema de traer mis perfumes, las mochilas, pedido. Trabajo también con una amiga que yo le pido y ella me trae. A partir de miércoles, jueves y viernes me voy a traer verduras, fruta, hago mi repartición de choclo. Sábado hago mi minuta de empanadas, hamburguesas caseras, empanada casero, pizza casera. Y domingo me dedico a pasta, ñoquis y tallarín con sopa y mandioca. Mis hijos me ayudan con el delivery. Tengo mi hijo de 7 años. Él, por ejemplo, tiene problemas de salud, el más chiquito. Y gracias a que siempre pude estar con él, pude ir controlando. Tenía unas complicaciones con el pulmón. Pero hoy en día, gracias a que yo le estoy cuidando, ya no está recayendo. Antes me acuerdo que cada un año teníamos que irnos al hospital porque siempre estaba con otras personas. Es diferente cuando mamá te cuida. Y el estar acá en casa trabajando y emprendiendo, esa es mi mayor recompensa. La estructura que tiene Diaconía es muy buena para cualquier familia, porque no solo te ayuda económicamente, te ayuda espiritualmente también. La capellana que a nosotros nos tocó estuvo conmigo cuando mi hijo se rompió el brazo. Fue un golpe duro para mí. Hace poco me dieron una mala noticia sobre mi salud, donde ella también estuvo y me dijo: sos fuerte y todo va a salir bien. Y esas palabras ayudan. Me diagnosticaron una cardiopatía, que estoy en tratamiento, y esa oración y ese apoyo que ella me dio realmente fue muy... En ese momento era lo que quería escuchar. Mi sueño es poder tener mi local propio acá en casa y poder tener mi verdulería tipo un mini market donde vos encuentres de todo. Y gracias a Dios hoy todo lo que tengo es que pude emprender y a la ayuda que he tenido con Diaconía Real. Gracias porque al apoyo del grupo y al apoyo económico yo tengo mi pequeño negocio que sigue en proyecto de seguir creciendo.
Rwanda is a country in East Africa, much like the rest of Africa, had seasons of instability. Really unique to Rwanda was decades of toxic leadership and segregation that culminated into a genocide. And so to come from a place of war and destruction to a place of peace and enjoy a thriving economy requires the sacrifice, actually, of the ordinary and extraordinary leaders that we have in our country.
If we groom and empower leaders to be able to look at the resources they have and they are able to invest in the people, then they will be able to have security, we shall have development, we shall have communities living together in harmony, and so everything rises and falls on a leader.
I was born in exile as a refugee, was never accepted, and deep down inside I felt like something was broken, and that has shaped my life. Afrines Engineering Limited is a shipyard that we are putting together, we are building here in Karongi. So it's an area where economically is very poor. We have youngsters that are here, don't have work because they are not trained. But here is a factory that will employ dozens of welders. We want to empower the local staff that we have, and this is what we are providing. To have these youngsters who can come and learn the craft and be employed for life. So we are bringing 300 employments to a region that had none. You have challenges, Don't wait for a miracle. Don't wait for someone to come and solve your problems. Look at the assets that you have in the community. Try to solve the problems by yourself.
When you consider the impact of education on economic transformation, you can expect GDP to increase by 1% every year if all the young people receive a quality education. Our mission at Discovery is to empower children to become grounded and thoughtful leaders who will transform Rwanda and the world. We know that we are preparing most of our students for jobs that don't exist yet. What that means is that we have to ground everything we do in 3 core pillars: a love for learning, passion for excellence, and strength in character. I knew that we wanted to have an abundant mindset and not a deficit mindset, and to see that our team, our staff, are valued and are at the center of what we do. Every time I see the 250 families or 200 families we serve here, and also we have students on full ride scholarships from a neighboring community who would not otherwise afford to be here, all that is impact.
This cathedral is the first cathedral in Rwanda. All of us in this church, we are affected by the genocide. Part of the community, and the Rwandan community had suffered. We were traumatized. But I've seen God mold us and bring it together and make us one. And now we look at one another as a congregation. We have seen God resurrecting this nation. For me to be part of that process, that is a joy for me. So we need to impact people to lead like Jesus, even in a small unit as a home. When we lead like Jesus, we are leading through the lenses of abundance.
Thank you, Ravi and Sophie, for those introductions and for those great films. Really amazing work happening in both of those contexts. So thank you very much for that. We're gonna keep moving. We've got 2 more movies, and just a reminder, we are going to be doing some voting. We're going to have some interaction with you at the end. So as you're thinking about the movies that are really tweaking you, just kind of make a mental note as we get ready for sort of the final few here. So moving right into the next film, this is Villageworks Cambodia. And I have to say I had the pleasure of just returning from Cambodia and actually visiting Villageworks. So I'm a little bit biased here, but this is actually one of my favorite social enterprises on the planet. My colleague Christine is here as well too, so if you want to talk to her about Villageworks later, we can do that. And are the filmmakers in the room are... I think it's Kara and Joel. Are they here? Did they make it? I don't think they're here.
Yeah, there they are.
I don't think so. Stand up, do a dance, say something. There they are, come on. So we have to chat before you leave the building, so we want to say hello. So, you know, it's when we talk about voting for these movies, it's almost impossible. It's like voting for your favorite child. We're not allowed to have favorites. But what I love about this particular social enterprise, first of all, it is just super creative in terms of how they're thinking about environmental sustainability. But what I love is how they're thinking about people in this context, marginalized people with folks that have physical disabilities. And in this context, they're kind of cast to the side of society. And so imagine a business can somehow care for folks like that and bring them in from the margins. So super stoked for this. I'm biased. Filmmakers are in the room, so you got to talk to them later. Awesome. And then the second one is from CAWST. This is the Center for Affordable Water and Sanitation Technology, or CAWST, and they're from Calgary, Alberta. And one of the things that sometimes we just default to, even in our thinking, is just how do we solve solutions or address these kinds of social and critical issues after after they've already occurred. But what's also critically important, and I think you've heard Bruce and the team talk about it already tonight, is prevention. Prevention is critical to addressing the water crisis. So this film is a part of an educational series that they've produced on household sanitation in Kampala, Uganda, and we hope you enjoy it. It might get a little stinky, spoiler alert.
I see so many people with disabilities begging. I feel like why they are begging? They have potential that they can do something. I have this sense of just ask them if their heart are willing to work. Villageworks was started as an income generating project for local artisans. Since I started leading Villageworks as a director, we started hiring people with disabilities so that they can have a skill and a job. We became Fair Trade certified in 2015. It is important for us because we want to tell our client that we are working toward to improve people's life. We also want to save the environment, and many of our material that we use are recycled and upcycling. We are using recycled cement bag, fish feed material, natural fiber, and also upcycling textile. We have our showroom where we can offer design service for clients that can come to design with us their own design, special made for their collection. Currently, we are exporting to 15 countries, and we want to expand our market so that we can provide more employment to our team. When you buy from Villageworks, you are not just changing the life of individual employees, you are changing the whole communities and our country. Abilities.
90% of our people in the city rely on on-site sanitation, and only 10% of our city is currently sewered. These sewers are within the CBD, which is the Central Business District. We have our informal settlements that do not have sewer networks but are relying on the on-site sanitation technologies. And under the fecal sludge management, we have the aspect of emptying of pit latrines. Working with different partners like the Water for People, who are able to discover the Gulper technology. We find that many of our people in the informal settlements are having pit latrines or septic tanks, and emptying them is also another challenge. Especially for the pit latrines that are not lined, it is very difficult to empty it using cesspool technology, the cesspool or the vacuum emptier. So the only option that we have there is using the Gulper technology. So with this Gulper technology and the method of emptying, where they first remove the waste using the hook and thereafter empty, helps us a lot when it comes to the populations that have pits that are unimproved or pits that are unlined. So we have accessibility challenges in some areas, and what we opt for, or what the communities opt for then, is the Gulper technology.
The only technology that we are using here, that's why we are called Gulpers. Before, people are not taking care of their facilities very well. Someone's facility gets full and you see they are using flying toilets, throwing it everywhere. Now in case of rainy time, cholera outbreak was everywhere. Diarrhea, children were suffering. We may not eliminate the ghetto or the informal settlement, but the quality of hygiene is coming up because they have embraced the technology that we are using to help them empty their facilities. We have our partners, KCCA, that we work under. They are in charge of the city. They have always been our backbone in whatever that we are doing here as Gulpers or manual emptiers. The 32 companies, we are four women headed companies, but out of the 4, 3 are doing the framework contract under KCCA. Besides the contract that they have given us, they have also given us a platform. We have an app called Weyonje app that we use to reach our clients. We also have a call center, but there are advantages and disadvantages as well. Our pits here, some are even deep up to 15 feet down, and the gulpers that we have cannot go beyond 8 feet. So what happens, you will pump out to maybe that level of 8, and that who has more than 10, 12 feet, it will look like you've done it just halfway. It makes them sometimes not get so much contented. When you go to a pit with a lot of solid waste, you are not able to use the gulper. With the Gulper technology that we have, that is now the Gulper 1 that we are currently using, and we have practiced that it can really work for us. With the idea we already have on it, we can still modify it to make it a better Gulper.
In conjunction with the gulping people and us, the fabricators, we come up with solutions of how to improve the technology. Initially, it was a metallic gulper, so we have been improving it from steel, so now we use PVC pipes. The Gulper technology has been so helpful to Kampala society, especially those people living in slum areas. So I feel happy myself when I see that there is a problem in the community and I'm part of the people who are working hard to solve that problem.
We have very young people.
And Joel being here. Okay, round of applause for all our sponsors with those gifts. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to ask Claire from the Rock Carrot to make her way up. And while she's doing that, the person that just won the $100 gift certificate at the Old Spaghetti Factory, if you want to re-raffle that off or do a silent auction, the Old Spaghetti Factory, I don't know if anybody's been here before, but my wife and I used to live down there. And this was before we had kids, and we would go to the Old Spaghetti Factory. It's fantastic food, but it's right down on the Esplanade, and it's a ton of fun, and we would make it, and we do the whole, spaghetti sucking into the lip kind of, anyway. Is Claire here yet? I'm embarrassing my wife. You're going to have a lot of fun at the Old Spaghetti Factory. So there you go. Claire, how are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Okay, well, thanks very much for coming up. So the Raw Carrot, it's absolutely one of my all-time favorite social enterprises. It's like, how can you pick your favorite one, okay? But the Raw Carrot has a special place in Kaleo's heart. They were one of our first alumni out of one of our startup labs. And I'm so excited that this movie is here today. You've also got a booth in the front.
We do have a booth at the front. So please come by. Come by, see us. We have products, everything there. You just got to come by and see us.
And my wife and I love the product. So thank you very much. This soup, it is absolutely delicious. It's a great Christmas gift.
Oh yes, we have a corporate gift box. We have granola for good, delicious. And tonight only, you're the only place that has our new chocolate line. And we don't have that many with us. Chocolate. I mean, soup, chocolate, breakfast.
They really have it all. And is there the picture of the Enviro Stewards team? Did we miss that already? Where is it? Look at this team. They put their soup where their mouth is. Is that a thing? So you can have fun with soup too. Here they are. Was it a Soup of the Month program?
That was Soup of the Month, but they also were having our potato bacon. Our Lodi potato bacon, one of my favorites.
I'm getting hungry all over again. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Claire, and you can introduce your wonderful video, your short film.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. Wow, what a privilege to be here. I feel so inspired to be surrounded by all this good work that's being done. So the Raw Carrot. So I'm proud, super proud to represent the Raw Carrot this evening, and of course, our film. We're a non-profit social enterprise those of you that aren't familiar with us, and we have a simple but very powerful mission. It's about empowering people that face barriers with traditional employment by giving them the ability to secure their own livelihoods through the dignity of work. We work to create more than just a hand out. This is about a hand up. And what better way to do it than through our amazing products? Kevin's already highlighted our soup line. We have an amazing breakfast line, and as I've already mentioned, our chocolate line as well. Our soups already nourish and are in kitchens right across Ontario, and our products have become beloved staples. But we want to take it a step further. With our corporate gift packages, you have the ability to give a gift with meaning, providing those employment opportunities that would otherwise be very difficult for many people, empowering people to thrive with dignity. But today I'm here to invite you to join us. We really want to continue to spread. 10 years has been 10 years of amazing work, but there is more we can and more that we will do with your help. We want to expand our reach, go into more communities. You can do that by partnering with us, whether it's purchasing a bowl of soup or a product from us, corporate gift boxes, sponsorships. Let's talk about the ways that we can continue to grow and expand our reach. So people often say, you know, a bowl of soup. There is so much that goes into a bowl of soup, and anyone that's tasted it today, it's not bad, eh? Who's had a good taste today? So please connect with us. Those of you, thank you so much if you've already placed your orders. Please don't forget to pick them up on your way out. Both Bronwyn and I, as well as Christina and Diane, will be here. We would love to chat with you. Please come by our booth. You've got to sample the chocolate. You won't taste anything like it anywhere else. It's made with heart and hope and dignity. So with that, I'm going to let Rebecca, one of our co-founders, tell you more about the raw carrot. Thank you.
Hey, turn that thing up.
The Raw Carrot started a decade ago when I got to know an individual in my church community who was struggling on the margins. And she was an individual that was just coming out of high school at the time and living in a family that both parents were on social assistance and their family lived in generational poverty. And as I got to know her within the context of our church congregation, I could see that she had a lot of potential to continue doing some things in her life, but her parents' plan for her life was to go straight onto social assistance. Their perspective of her was that they could see that she had a disability, a mild learning disability, and because of that learning disability, they just didn't see that there was many options for her after she graduated high school. And so as I got to know that young woman, I could see into the future of the course of her life, and the trajectory of her life really was that she was going to be on social assistance. And although that's a path that many people have to be on, I could see that she had more potential to do something else. Once she graduated high school, I suggested to her that there were some programs that the government has available that she would be able to access, resume building and skills training that were sort of soft skills. And for 6 months, she went twice a week and did that soft skills training. And they had sort of promised that at the end of all this training and work that she would have the opportunity to interview for some jobs. And she interviewed for 3 jobs and she didn't get any of them. And so that left me with a huge sense of loss. I built up her expectations. It was very personal for me and for her as well, because she just had some limitations that prevented her from working in full-time paid employment. So that sense of loss and frustration that I felt at that time really led me to thinking, wow, this is a much deeper issue than I realized. On one hand, I hear the narrative of people in my church congregation who aren't making ends meet. They're coming in, they're talking to the pastor once a month, they're needing winter coats, winter boots, crisis intervention pieces, meal cards, community meals, all those things to just meet their monthly needs, and really they're failing. Most people on social assistance are up to 40% below the poverty line, so they're really not making ends meet. They're making anywhere between $700 and $1,200 a month, and that's barely covering their rent. So they're needing supports, and yet at the same time, I kept hearing this narrative that they wanted to work. They wanted not only to contribute, they wanted to earn their own income, they wanted to contribute to something, and they were really struggling with a sense of loneliness and a lack of community because they had no opportunity to participate in the workforce.
And all of a sudden, someone thought, well, you know what, let's make soup. Everybody can make soup. And they started selling soup to the community, and it worked. It wasn't just soup, it was great soup. And when it was great soup, all of a sudden they wanted 2 kinds of great soup. And they got bigger and they got bigger and they got bigger. Now it's actually an enterprise or a company working out of the kitchen of the Presbyterian Church.
And through cooking soup and selling it just to our congregation and the local community, we were able to pay them. And so that started out really from the germ of an idea. In our first year, we hoped to sell $5,000 worth of soup, and we sold $25,000 worth of soup. And we really realized that God had a bigger plan in mind than maybe we anticipated. And we saw that people were thriving in work. They had a community, they had a little family of people. They enjoyed each other's company. They had purpose in life. They had value and dignity because of that work opportunity, and they had income. So it was, from the get-go, we could see that it was really meeting some significant needs in their life.
So I was originally in the financial industry for over 30 years and had been praying for a long time to find new direction and hoped that it would be in the food industry. I'd originally thought I'd like to open a soup kitchen and went to George Brown College and took some chef courses. But the Lord had different plans for me. When I was forced into retirement, He found me a position here at the Raw Carrot. So I started off volunteering with the organization. And then when the opportunity came for me to manage the site, I did that. The staff not only gained the work experience, but they also gained a sense of community. And some of them too get a strengthening of faith, and some of them were for the first time introduced to faith. And so it's a huge blessing. I'm blessed more than I'm a blessing.
When you're all of a sudden bringing in revenue into the church, and not profit, let's be clear, but revenue through sales, this is like for some churches that's really outside the boundaries of what they've been doing previously. And some people had a lot of questions about that. And it's right to question, right? We need the back and forth of that kind of thing. But having a church leadership that was willing to see the vision, pray through those decisions, and to take some risks and give us a chance to let that happen, that was an absolutely critical element to the vision of how this grew right from the outset. There's no way we could have started without it.
I'm really blessed that this all happened, because if not, I would probably still maybe be looking for another job. Before, I was just working babysitting, before then doing this. So it's really a good blessing. It has changed a lot of people's life since being on ODSP, it gives us a little extra money to help pay for our bills. Shows people that we can do what every other person can do.
I never could have envisioned that God would have brought us to this journey of scaling across Ontario and now launching interprovincially into, hoping to scale across Canada. That certainly is not where this started. It started with such a small, one person, literally one person that I knew that I had a burden for. And, that grew to 4 people in the church. And then that grew to, we employ about 35 people now across Ontario and are hoping to scale that much larger. But that vision has to start with that idea of the mustard seed. And so just jump in where God has placed you. It doesn't have to be far away. It doesn't have to be the mission fields. The mission field is right in front of you.
Thanks, Rebecca and the Raw Carrot team. Thanks, Claire, for the intro. I had the opportunity to actually meet Amanda at one of the sales centers, little farmer's market she was working at, and she had complete confidence behind the counter and just command and control. And it was actually just a joy to see her journey and where she'd come to. Now she's just like wheeling and dealing soup behind the counter. It was just like a ton of fun to see that. So great job to the Raw Carrot team. I'm going to invite our lovely friend Bruce Taylor up here. We do have to continue to acknowledge some people that have been on the journey with Bruce and team, our project partners and our impact partners. And then Bruce, I think you're actually going to do the intro for the Safe Water Social Ventures, right? Are you up for it? Okay. Big round of applause for Bruce.
Thank you. I want to introduce a couple partners here. So Lanxess is a company in Elmira, our next door neighbor actually. And they've been giving back. So even during COVID, so probably like 3-4 years in a row, they gave us these big oversized checks. And we used that to start a brand new project in Packwatch, which was in the film 2 years ago that you saw, Nanga Kinta, if you were here. Really strategic partner. This multi-year thing is so effective because in any business, you need to see a little bit of what's going to happen in the future, right? So we can plan for staffing and whatnot. So have reliable partners is like that. Similarly, this year we got one from Grundfos Foundation. Grundfos makes pumps, like well pumps and boiler rooms and stuff, but they have this foundation that in the past we haven't gone for funding. And the reason is because most funders want most of your time to do what they want you to do. I only have 10 or 20% of my time. I don't want to spend it all doing that. I want to actually do the work. Their funding is a one-page report at the end. How many people get safe water, right? And they said, and we want you to be able to provide a volunteer experience for our staff. I said, great, but I don't want your staff to make a biofilter. Why would they make it when the local team can build it better than your staff? Instead, send me a salesperson, a marketing person, communications person, tech service, an accountant, right? In our culture, we think, okay, leave what you know behind and go do something you don't know how to do. Instead, take what you know, bring that there, teach accounting, teach bookkeeping, you know, and that lets you get back to what is accounting for? It's actually for accountability, you know? And so you get back to the kind of the root benefit of these things and you transfer that knowledge. And so these have been really instrumental, and I really appreciate the folks who help us start new projects. Next slide. But it's even more important to help us maintain a project. It's easy to start something. How do you keep it going? Well, to keep it going, you need ongoing sales. Like they need sales of soup. So that's why we did, I love that, put your soup where your mouth is. That's great. You know, we're just one company, but just they're going to have an order every month of a different soup, right? Or 2 soups that we do, right? That's not hard for us to do, but it's helpful for somebody else because then they can plan on that, right? So the same thing here, BMP Summit. Bridget, I don't know if your team's here. Are you? Yeah, do you want to? Woo! Yeah. So Bridget's probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years now. What they've done is she organizes a water and sanitation training. So again, even in Canada, you need ongoing training. And again, we think, oh, we're going to start a new drinking water system in 6 nations. Well, that's great. Who's going to maintain it? How are they going to continue their education? Right? So we have to think about maintaining, not just starting stuff, right? And so this is a continuing education credit they get every year that they invite us. We speak at there along with some experts. And so far, 266 families have safe water. And what they do is the registration fee for the conference, half of it goes to help with safe water and half goes with another charity called the Groundwater Project. So really appreciate that. Thank you so much. 266 families have safe water for 25 years, right? That's amazing. Mm-hmm. And maybe Grosh and Marine, are you here? Yeah. Yeah, you want to come up? So I met maybe 10, 15 years ago, we were doing work for the Frito-Lay factory in Cambridge there. And he was the director of sustainability and doing kind of water, product conservation, these kinds of things. And as part of the project, he kind of slipped in. It wasn't really official sponsoring 10 filters in Africa, right? So going around kind of your own systems. But because of that, they actually won a national award because of the water, the product, the safe water and stuff like that, right? And so it's good in spite of themselves almost, right? But but then he says, hey, can I come with you to South Sudan?
Sure. So 2014, we went and we taught people how to sell filters, right? And we didn't even just teach them how to sell filters. We taught them how to teach people how to sell filters. And we haven't done it since because they know it and they teach them, right? And then Hilmi just came with me this past year. You're going to see him again. But Hilmi and Maureen started their own business so that they can provide safe water. And so far, they do other projects as well, but through our project, they've helped 381 families have safe water. So that's just a reminder for your guests. And with that, I want to introduce the film also. So you'll see growth. So part of what we did is 1 year ago today, international teams was showing a film about Burkina Faso training women in skilled trades. And we were in discussions. Can we start a project in Jinja? And the Jinja project's been partnering with Creekside Church in Waterloo for a number of years on a school there through Embrace Uganda. And just in 1 year, the group from there got trained by the existing one, went back, did a market assessment, a business plan, technical training, sales training, started a project, and they're up and running, and we went and visited filters they were installing. And so that's the nature of this one. And so this year's offering from EnviroStours is Amayengo, which means ripples in the local language there. And so I want to share that. Thank you very much.
We are working in Wesley district where Chitigoma is. Here people access water from open wells. They access water from springs, from rivers and lakes. They lack money to buy firewood to boil drinking water. They don't have that money, or to buy charcoal. Charcoal is very expensive here.
According to the survey we took, members of a family go down to water-related illnesses 3 to 4 times a year. The most affected being the little ones, the children, and who miss a lot of school and other opportunities because of that time when they are ill, people losing their lives due to mostly typhoid and cholera when there is cholera outbreaks.
We're headed to Elmira next, where a local engineering company is making a big difference, providing clean water to the people of Sudan. Out of all the wells in the county, half of them have E. coli bacteria. And more than half the people in the hospital are there because of water-related illness. We have a mold out of steel and then make it a cement filter, and you fill it full of gravel and sand. And you grow naturally occurring bacteria in there that eat the other bacteria.
I'd done some relief work in other places like earthquake relief and stuff. But if I didn't do it, somebody else would. Whereas in South Sudan, there was nobody involved at that time. So I went with the team, and when I inquired about the orphanage that we were helping, the Widows Association was walking 3 miles to the nearest well. So I brought them biofilters so they could treat the creek water instead. So a couple years later, 2006, we were expanding the orphanage, and a group came and said, can you teach us how to build the filters? So then we brought in a trainer from CAWST, and we taught 17 students how to build a biofilter, and we hired the 4 best students to start the project. So do you remember one of your young students was Matthew?
Oh, absolutely. Matthew was a rock star even then. He was young and enthusiastic, and now in northern Uganda, right? Like, he took this information and this technology that he learned about in Kaji, and, you know, basically when they had to leave South Sudan, he goes into northern Uganda and implements it, because that skill is transferable no matter where he goes.
Of recent, we were able to train one group from Jinja who wanted also to start up the water filtration system, and that training was so effective. They like it, and after the training also we went with them to the site, guide them and instruct them how to set up their construction place and how to market their products. And it was so exciting and so encouraging to me that we are impacting communities, and we are also providing knowledges to communities that are long-lasting.
it was a good training. We thank God our technicians have been able to start and putting together these units. Our health units, that is the community sensitizers, have been all around this area of Chitigoma and sensitizing the community, the masses, on the advantages of using these water filters to cleanse their water. So there is need and there is interest.
Those who got it are really supporting us to sensitize even other people around, like their neighbors. We've had testimonies from different homes whereby they are reporting a decrease in typhoid spread. So to us, it's a milestone. I was in a bad situation drinking that water. Some young boys came to me and asked me where we get our drinking water. And we told them that we get drinking water from a spring, and it is very far. In this same spring, it's where even cows drink water from. And they told me that they have a filter which they can give at a fair price. And I told them I didn't have money because I had lost my son who would help me access that filter. But they told me that there is someone who paid for a filter and I'm required to pay just a small amount of money. I was really excited. I would also be accessing clean and safe water for drinking. I'll be well without suffering from waterborne diseases. My husband, my children, my grandchildren will be free from waterborne diseases. I was very happy to receive a filter, and I glorify God and thank God for that day.
I'm so glad that Jesus set me free. I'm so glad that Jesus set me free. Singing glory, hallelujah, that Jesus set me free. I'm so happy, and God, I feel so.
2014 was the first time that I traveled to South Sudan with the Enviro Stewards team. When I traveled there and I saw the impact that biosand water filters and safe water have on people's lives, that was a defining moment for me, knowing that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. My wife and I nearly lost our daughter to waterborne illness when she was 10 months old. And we built this entire brand. And the reason for this brand to exist is to be able to fund clean water and safe water projects, such as the one we're running here in Uganda. When somebody pays a little bit, a small part, into that filter, which is heavily subsidized through corporate partnerships, they take a lot of pride in having that filter, and they take care of that filter. It means so much to them. They can take pride that the health of their family is something that they have been able to put forward.
We're blessed with so much that, how do we share what we have? And the best way, you might think it's an engineering problem, but it's not. It's a training and capacity building, teaching. So the most important thing we do is actually teaching, not engineering. We were a tiny, tiny company. And so we did not have the resources to do a conventional approach, which worked out even better because then we had to do a business approach. So it's slower, it takes longer to get going, but it's much stronger. So 100% of the staff, 100% of the board is all local. That way you have the resiliency. The Ginger Project has done a market assessment, a business plan, the technical training, the sales training, how do you run a business, all without us, because those skills have been transferred. And that's really the key, right, is to work yourself out of a job. One of my favorite photos is of Daria from Juba teaching Amale how to make biofilters in Yei. And we didn't teach Daria.
Right. That ripple carries on. It ripples out all the way to Yei and all the way to Juba. And you don't know that when you start, but you believe it will happen, and it does.
Okay, 20 years of safe water social ventures. Can we get one more little round of applause? So that's a pretty big commitment. 20 years. What is it? Obedience in the what's that saying again? Obedience in the same direction for a long time or something. What's that? Anyway, I missed it. I've totally botched it. But thank you for the commitment you guys have shown, Bruce, you and your team, and 20 years of changing lives. It's just really, it really is inspiring. And the fact that, again, you've invited a whole bunch of other organizations to come here and celebrate the work that they're doing as well. I think that's pretty unique. And just a round of applause for everybody who was here tonight, the filmmakers. Yeah. We sometimes throw the words like partners around very loosely. Helmi, I haven't met you yet, but I've seen you online, I've seen you on LinkedIn, I've seen you in the video now, and you can tell, obviously, that it's a really special partnership between Helmi, his team, and Enviro Stewart, the Safe Water Social Venture. So big round of applause to you as well for being there from the beginning. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to have about 20 minutes at the end. We're almost there. You guys have been so patient. Thank you for bearing with us. We hope this has been a great evening for you. So we're going to have a little bit of fun now, if I can get my head out of the way. What we'd like you to do is, Mats, is it just as simple as pointing at the QR code?
With your camera?
With a camera, not just your finger. Thank you, Julia. Julia. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of fun. Let's see if this works. It might be the first time that we've done this, so we'll see if we can make it happen. And if it doesn't work, Matt Van Cleef was the one who set this up. Matt at envirostewards.ca, is that it? Okay, let's see if we can have some fun. It's going to be super hard to pick, top 3 for sure. But this just gives us a little bit of feedback. We're going to have a little bit of fun with it. And we want to just say again, record attendance, both in person and online. So thank you for your ongoing support and for being here. Just again, that encouragement for the team to keep on going. Record number of sponsors, I think, this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so again, people are catching the vision. And so thank you for the sponsors that are making this happen and providing safe and clean drinking water for so many people. And we also had a record number of film submissions. And so maybe that what if the Impact Film Festival idea is catching on. And so if you're thinking about a movie, we want to have you submit next year. If your organization's got a movie or something coming this year, think about next year as well, okay? All right. So is that working for everybody? Julia, you pointed your finger and it worked for you? Okay, perfect. Okay, so while Matt's and his crack staff of accountants are going through that, I'm going to ask Wes and Bruce to just come up really, really quickly here. We want to honor everybody's time. I'm just going to ask them a couple of questions regarding Safe Water Social Ventures. And if there's one really good question from the audience, but it's got to be really good, so don't make us embarrass you by saying that wasn't good. We'll take one really good question from the audience. Now, I've got 2 canned questions here, but quite frankly, they suck. So I'm not going to ask. No, I'm just kidding. They're all great questions. By the way, did you guys see young Bruce in the video? Young Bruce is in the video. I thought it was like your younger brother or something. No, it was you. Of course it was you. So you've been doing this for a while now. Bruce, we'll start with you. So tell me a little bit about the whole mechanism about the money. Are you charging for the filters? Are you charging people to use the filters? Like, shouldn't we just be giving it away?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so to make a filter over there, it costs about $100 US. And what that's for is 1/3 of a bag of cement and a lot of labor to make it, which is great because it all goes into local wages. Now, even here, for us to help with a $100 filter with inflation and whatnot, it seems like a lot even. Now imagine that you made $1 a day, right? That's 3 months total income. So to help with that hurdle, because who we're reaching are the rural poor who can't be reached with a pipe, can't be reached with most technical solutions. And this solution here, it works for 25 years with no energy, no ongoing operating costs, right? And so to make it more affordable, what we do is if you were to donate $100, either at once or in installments or however you want to do it, same way they do it in installments over there, we would use that to make a $60 US discount over there, which sadly uses most of the $100. And then we take the other 10 or 15, whatever is left, and we put it into training and local wages there. So 100% of whatever we get goes there, and that's kind of what we do with the money. But by doing that, you have the pride of ownership. So even Betty, you saw in the thing, right? She was so excited to give Hilmy half a dozen eggs, right? And, you know, those are the most valuable eggs he's ever got, right? And she chipped in towards the thing, right? And so we're working on that and also on just different ways to make it manageable, but by contributing, it becomes their filter. Otherwise, it's our filter. Your filter's broken, come and fix it. Your well's broken, come and fix it, right? And so that's the ownership difference, I think, would be why we charge. Plus, it goes further, right? If you give me $100, then it only needs $60 to do it. So the other, you know, so your actual donation goes further, can help more people when everybody contributes.
Thanks so much, Bruce, and I appreciate that that answer was also from the heart. So here's a business that's putting its money and its time and its treasure into action, and so I love that. I applaud that. That's social purpose. All of our businesses can be making profit for sure, but what do we do with the profit? So I love that. And I love the fact that you're addressing the social water issue, the water issue overseas in East Africa, but you're also trying to reach people and restore dignity and bring them into the equation too. So I love that creativity, Bruce. I just celebrate that with you. So that's wonderful, brother. Thank you so much. Okay, and Wes, dun dun dun. Dun, dun, dun. Was this your first trip? You were just there, or is this your second trip? You just got back?
My third trip.
Third trip. He's a pro. He's a pro. Okay, so then this question should be dead easy for you then. Let's just say, you know, on the 3 trips that you've had, what's maybe one thing when you think of the beneficiaries? Sometimes we call them beneficiaries, sometimes we call them just amazing people that you're working with. Maybe one little story or one little event that really just stuck out to you, that just caught you off guard. You didn't see that coming, and it was just, you were there and you were showing up, you thought you were doing your thing, and something just really tweaked you, spoke to you. What just, maybe an experience that just really jumped out at you? Is that a fair question?
That's a fair question. That's a fair question, and I'll try to answer it my best. I'd say it happened on the first trip 2 years ago when I went with my colleagues and now supervisor Max, and also Andreas and Bruce and Alice, the former coordinator. And it just really impacted me when I went and saw a family that welcomed us so kindly and that had such a spirit of Thanksgiving. But I'm going to have to go in a little bit of a different direction, if that's okay, because I've had the chance to see like 75 different families, and it's just amazing. We have such a great team. There's so many people that are involved in making this work happen, the sponsors, and I just got to jump in on this after Bruce has started this up and all the people involved. I just got to jump in and get to see like 75 families, and every time they have good things to say, and they share the same things with the spirit of Thanksgiving, of illnesses being eliminated and reduced, financial situation being better, having savings, using that to go to school and for better quality of life in their family, and also just enjoying the taste of the water. Like one story I'll finish with is just, I'd been hearing many families share about how illnesses were being eliminated, and they just were so thankful and they were saving money. And all of a sudden I came to a family and they were like, the only thing they said, even though they were beaming with Thanksgiving, and they said, oh, we just really like the taste of the water. It's so cool because it's so hot over there. And just the fact that you can have this filter in a home in a shady spot, and it's not after it's been boiled and you have to wait for it to cool down or something. It was just cool, and they enjoyed the taste of it. So that was something that really stood out.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Wes. Thank you. Thanks for making it personal. Okay, Bruce, I'm going to ask you to stay. I think we're going to do the prizes. Thanks so much, Wes. And then Bruce, after sorry, not the prizes. We don't have prizes, but we're going to announce. All the money goes to a good cause. Thank you. Has the accountants gone through this? Okay. And we're gonna be able to read this? Okay. And then, Bruce, we're gonna ask you to close us out, okay? Is that cool? What a wonderful evening. All right. So again, just for fun, and in no particular order, but let's just say the third most popular video was Villageworks Cambodia. Round of applause for Villageworks. The second most popular was Cup for a Cup, Old Spaghetti Factory. That's pretty cool. And then, Bruce, how do you pronounce that word?
Amayengo.
Wait, is that Safe Water Social Ventures? The fix is in! Safe Water Social Ventures! Come on! All right, well, thank you everybody for participating in that. Hopefully you had good fun. Hopefully you were inspired tonight. I'm going to hand it over to our awesome host for the final word.
Thank you. Do you have the Kaleo? Yep. Yeah. And so I want to thank everybody, and I want to start actually with my MC. Thank you, Kevin. And again, we don't have money, so instead we helped 10 families get safe water in Uganda, and we're going to make a partner page for Kaleo Labs on the Safe Water site. Thank you. But I also want to thank my team. Like, the most stressed people in the whole room are right there at that table. You know, as the CEO, it's easy to just say, okay, we're going to do a film festival, right? And so a lot more than that is required to make it happen, right? And so on your way out, make sure you see the science display. How does the biofilter works and whatnot with Julia, who came with us in Uganda last month, right? And we were going to do a 7th inning stretch, but we ran out of time, so we'll do that next year. And go see Cheryl at the donation booth. And she's also we brought back widows in Jinja actually make those crafts you see on that table there. So I just bought them out, and they're there. Any donation of any amount, just take one home, right? Also, you probably can't see this. It's on my keychain. It's a biofilter. I call it a microbiofilter because it's microbiology and it's also a small one. But on it, it has the website, SWSV, but on the other side it says one family. So if you have ever helped a family get safe water, stop at the donation, get one for free right out of there. If you intend to do it, you know, hey, I'm going to set aside $10 a month until next year's film festival. Take one anyway. Put it on there, and it's going to remind you of that family. Awesome. Okay. Everybody here, I want you to take one of these on the way home. These just came off the press this afternoon. And Daniel drove from Ajax with them, right? And so this is the 20th anniversary 2025 calendar. Every month you're going to see a different aspect of safe water, and it's going to kind of remind you, right? And so we'd love for you to take them and use them to remind yourself of this. And then one last thing is we actually have a textbook coming out in May, and so I'm doing the proof right now for it. But anyway, 100% of the proceeds from the textbook actually go towards safe water also. So that'll be coming out, and we'll give you guys an update in the spring sometime on that and on how the projects are going. So make sure you're on the mailing list. If you actually registered, you're already on the mailing list unless you opt out of it. But keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're whitelisted or something like that on your email thing. But we'll have an update in the spring, and we'll see you all next year. And we're taking submissions right now for next year. It's open now. So if you have something, just send it. Any inspiring short film. But most of all, I want to thank you. Basically, you are the ambassadors for this. You have the capacity now to talk about safe water. And for me, if I see this thing on my keychain here, that cost me $100. That family on that keychain saved $1,000 because they're spending $40 a year on medicine for typhoid, dysentery, and whatnot. What other investment are you going to get 10 times as much in the pockets of rural poor people who make $1 a day, right? So it's not, you know, I can have a pair of shoes for $100 or I can have this. And I'm getting much stronger now. I can pick up $100 worth of groceries with one hand now. Right? And so it's an investment. It's not even a donation really in that sense, right? I'd rather do that. But anyway, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for our team. We have some time left before we get kicked out. How long do we have?
25 minutes.
20 minutes. Make sure you stay. Everybody here is interested in change. Anybody you talk to, you know, let's stick around, let's hang out. And thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it.